Now we're streaming.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started with the superintendent's update. I've got on the screen that most of you, if you're watching online, can see the agenda. Hopefully it's large enough font to see that. I'll skip down. I will let you know, I think I mentioned last month, we had a first for me as a school superintendent, that being Esmond needs delaying. Well, we finally got our information from Cleveland County Assessor's Office, and on the 28th of September, that's why you see another board meeting this time. So that's a little different than normal, but we got everything taken care of as far as that was concerned. Let me move down to just a few items that I shared with the board under my comments, and also mention some operations related items. The Physical Therapist Assistant Program, we've submitted everything we can. We've submitted our quasi-rebuttal to the accrediting body, which is called CAPTE, C-A-P-T-E, and the way we understand it works is at the end of this current month, sometime the last week of October, they will have their board meeting, CAPTE will, and they will decide yes or no regarding our physical therapist assistant program at that time. We kind of feel pretty comfortable, first of all, that we've done everything we possibly can and probably then some. On all fronts, everything's been done that's humanly possible, and unfortunately, it's out of our hands at this particular point. If we receive notification probably by October 31st, that will be bad news. If we don't find out until, I'll explain why in just a second, Jeff. If we don't receive some sort of notification until maybe the first or second week in November, that will probably be good news, because urban legend has it that CAPTE notifies the folks that are not so happy with the news first. So basically, immediately after their board meeting, they make notification to those folks that they have kind of put the proverbial thumb down on, and they wait a few days for the thumbs up folks. So I am anxiously neutral. I'll just leave it like that. But I do know this, everybody at Gordon Cooper Technology Center, for the time that we've been engaged in this, have done incredibly good work, and in my opinion, for what that's worth, and it's worth nothing with CAPTE, we should be easily approved, but that's their decision at this point. Court reporting program, got Joni and Fran doing great work there. The board, as you'll see a little later in the agenda, approved an agreement with an entity out of Houston, Texas, that will utilize their curriculum and a whole host of other things. We are working very hard, and I use we in a real broad sense. Joni and Fran and Bob are working really hard at this point in time to put together two things that are critical at this point, and you can help with this. Every one of you can. It is open basically for people to express interest in enrolling as a student. It will be a 2-year program, should be Pell eligible. That's not exactly finalized at this point. We've done everything that we can in student services there. Great opportunities for them. It's an adult-only program, so if you know folks that are looking for a really good opportunity starting in January, direct them to us and we'll get them engaged. The other heavy lift that we are working really hard on is finding hopefully adjunct instructors that can instruct the program. And so again, Joni and Fran deserve a tremendous amount of credit there. They've worked really hard on this, and in January we will we'll begin with the court reporters program. A little different, but it's kind of the way it works. Operationally, let me just kind of give you some updates there on things that are in the works as we speak. Hopefully, and this is what we've instructed our architect to do, by prior to the December board meeting, We hope to open bids on a new roof on G-Wing, and G-Wing is basically where Business and Career Services is at. You extend it on west of there into Bob and Jeff and Robin and Melissa and Gary's area, i.e. Safety Center. Well, it doesn't quite go to Safety Center, excuse me, because the large shop area is not included in the new roof because it's got a fairly new roof, but all of industry training, new roof, you slide to Business and Career Services, and then you go up the hallway. That is one of our roofs that is in the greatest level of disrepair, and so we're going to open bids on that and hope to start that fairly soon. The intercom / bell / clock system at the aviation campus, that is in progress. Hopefully, I'd say by mid-December, maybe as late as January 1, that will all be in place. And so we'll actually have a system where this campus in Shawnee and the aviation campus will be synced together as it relates to bells and clocks and a whole host of other kinds of things. Looking at opening some bids as it relates to some actually energy efficient windows on the north side. That would be all of student services, admin, and then you slide over all of the large windows that face north. Those are circa 1970 windows. And that was before we actually knew that there was such a thing as energy efficient, and so we're going to go ahead and replace those. The last thing that we hope to be opening some bids on are a complete upgrade of the seating in the seminar center. We're going to get rid of the seating that's in there and try to go with a true auditorium kind of seat. No tables sitting in front of you and some other kinds of things like that. So we ought to gain some seats through that. And I think it'll be more appropriate for most of the groups that we have in there. Probably go with a seat that actually has a little flip up desktop of sorts. It's pretty small. If you've been at places like Metrotech and their auditorium areas, the same kind of concept. So those three things we're looking at. We are also looking at trying to do some upgrades to the playground area at the early care. That actually is not, it's in progress, but the actual execution of that probably wouldn't take place until the summer. Okay. Let's see. I will tell you, well, let me go ahead and take you all the way through March. In March, we hope to open bids on finishing the renovation of the road or replacement of the road around this main building. We've kind of made it about a third of the way around, or roughly, probably it's closer to a half to a little bit more than that, as well as remodel of E and D wing restrooms, as well as parking adjacent to J building and operations to give us a little bit more parking other than gravel, poor drainage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in those particular areas. Okay? Those are all things in the works. Let's go back to the agenda real quick. Compliance with CEPA, that's an E-rate issue. We have to have filters on our network because we service high school students, and we have to have an agenda item that says that we've got filters on our network. Call for election, that's a standard item. Jimmy Gibson, who represents Shawnee proper, is up for re-election this year. And the time frame there is the 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, first week in December. At that point in time, we'll know who is running for that particular seat. It's called District 5. If you have anybody that's interested, Jimmy has indicated that he is interested, and hopefully that comes through because you've got a pretty good board at this particular point in time.
Marty.
Go ahead.
So how is there any term limits on re-election and time served for board members? Fortunately not, and that was an editorial comment. That doesn't work real well at the state level, as evidenced by the not so special session going on right now. No, there is not. Okay. They've made attempts at that in the past, and I think that is an abysmal idea from a policy standpoint to ever consider term limits, actually probably for anybody, much less board members. So Jimmy and the other 4 board members are really good board members. They're very educated, wise people that do a good job of representing everybody. And they're not in it for any other reason to help this place succeed. I have been on boards that have had people that were on there for all the wrong reasons, and it destroys communities and it destroys organizations. So I'm hopeful that that continues here, because unfortunately this place has had a time long ago where there were board members that destroyed this place or attempted to. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Okay. Item 9, the Mark Kislingberry. Won't make any editorial comments. Joni's kind of wondering what I'm going to say, but this is the individual and the entity that we are partnering with to utilize his curriculum, etc. What we have learned is within the court reporting genre, he is the person. If you go to any court reporter actually in this nation and mention his name, they will know him immediately. That's what we found out. And so we're going to be able to utilize his expertise in a lot of different ways. That's why that's on there. Item 10 is a standard item where we have to, from an auditing standpoint, accept donations that have fixed asset value is really what that amounts to. I tell those of you that ever have people to say that they're going to donate something, I want to remind you, you need to get your supervisor involved in that before you accept it. We kind of get out of kilter on that sometimes. Item 11, Curtis and Rusty are going to a paramedic conference, EMS conference, as a part of their accreditation of their program. Item 12 has 4 policies. The first 3, not major, but the last one was a major overhaul. I think that's gone out, perhaps. Okay, very soon you'll get those. The first 3 were really simple. There was just a couple of sentences on each one of them that were revised. Most of this dealt with us doing a better job of identifying what a fixed asset is, and most of you, unless you're an accountant or an auditor, you don't really care, okay? But we deal with both of those things, so we had to clean that up because we didn't have very good guidance in policy or in administrative regulation with inventory, with fixed assets, and with P cards, purchasing cards. And so all 4 of those dealt either directly with all or parts of those 3 topics. And you'll get a copy of that digitally. I would encourage you, in the spirit of MUDA, do not print it out. Just save it someplace, because it's always on the website, all right? We don't have to print everything out, at least that's what I understand. I got some surplus property items. Item 14, this is not cooperating real well. Well, I'll keep on going now. Item 16. All of these items are going to deal with the same thing that was under 14, all right? Item 16, we've got some folks that are going to do some training in business and career services. Item 17 is a new young lady within our LPN area. She will start a week from this coming Monday, I believe. Is that right? 23rd, whatever that is. That may not be the 23rd. If you're wondering about the LPN instructor, Lisa Moreland is retiring at the end of December. And at that point, Charlotte Lee will move into the director's position and Secret will be, and so we're trying to get ahead of that particular curve so that we're not trying to adjust within a week or 2, and that's hence Secret's hiring. Greg Rogers will be our new electrician. And item 20, I'm not happy about at all. So everybody kick Stacy's shins on her way out of here. She claims she has a good excuse. It's something about getting married. Okay. No, we're happy for her and really disappointed for us. But she is November the 25th. She will be Mrs.
Vermillion.
Vermillion. All right. If you can spell that, you get bonus points. Okay.
All right. We're happy for Stacy. And then David Beatty, we dealt with a resignation dealing with David on the item 21. Item 22, 23, 24, etc. Item 25. This is the month typically that you see a lot more change order items because that's when they adjust the purchase orders associated with everybody's salary increase. Okay, and so that's why you see so much more. 2+ pages, 3+ pages. I always have to remind people that the numbers that you see out there are total cost to district numbers, which means there are employee portions of that and employer portions of that. If you've never done payroll, you may or may not be aware of that. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but not everybody kind of understands that dynamic. Okay? Questions? Questions on the agenda? All right. Told you last time, hold on just a second, Renee, that I'm going to try to spend more time giving you a chance to ask questions than me just talking, because that came out of feedback on staff survey. Okay? Go ahead, Renee.
I was just curious, it's not a big deal. The court reporting program, where will we house that?
Well, we've got 3 ideas right now. I'm not going to tell you where those 3 places are at. It won't remove anybody from an existing space right now. That is, unless Roger has occupied a space that I'm not aware of, which sometimes happens. Okay? All right. All right. But we've got some spaces that we think will work out pretty well. We're probably looking, to elaborate a little bit more, at about probably 10 students. We'd like to have more because the more, the better for us, but probably 10 is what we're looking at, and we've got 2 or 3 places on campus we think that we could dedicate to that particular space. Okay?
This is a daytime program.
Yeah, right now it is. And I'm not speaking in code here, Renee, and everybody else. I'm just simply saying that is our preferred delivery method. You know, our preferred, as Joni and Fran and Bob and I had, sometimes you've got what you'd like to do versus what actually you can do. And what we would like to do is have 1, maybe 2 adjunct instructors. We'd like to do a daytime. They'll be really busy Monday through Thursday, a typical school day, and then Friday, a little lighter day, will be probably how the schedule operates for those students. So, does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else? Question? Anybody? I'm trying to think. I will tell you, one of the last, well, I'll mention one more thing that's going on that's not on my list. We went ahead and asked for the board's approval to do a pretty major upgrade of all the furniture in the east atrium, the west atrium, what we call the break room, and the dining areas. It's probably going to be after the first of the year before all that takes place, but we're going to try to upgrade all of that. I may have mentioned that briefly last month, but that is in process, and right now what we'll be working on is trying to just get the equipment here, get the furniture here. And once we get the furniture here, then we'll stage the deployment of all of that. Unfortunately, that's not going to include a change in the flooring. That's a heavier lift and takes a whole lot more time if you're talking about getting rid of and chipping up all of that stuff. I will tell you, you'll see on this campus a pretty substantial consolidation of vending machines as a part of that. We're going to try to move all of our vending machines under, basically on what I would say is the north wall, in that break area. So any of those vending machines that you see over on the south side, etc., those will be either eliminated and or moved in some particular form or fashion. Because there's going to be seating over in that corner. It's going to require that we change the door that goes into that service room, the custodial's closet there. We've got to get a few of those things taken care of. The little awning that is there on the garage door, that goes away. So we're just trying to really mention to the board
Actually, we've not done any kind of an upgrade in that space probably for 25 years. Not that you're always looking for opportunities. How many years?
27.
27. You got my resident historian. Okay, that makes it even sound better. Okay, so part of that is it needs an upgrade, and part of it is we're really trying to create a space that the students will find appealing and beneficial and useful and things of that nature, as opposed to just a bunch of folded chairs and things of that nature. Okay? Installing. Any other questions? Anything else? Anything? Don't forget accreditation. Accreditation, the visitors will be here when?
November 14th.
November 14th. If you have not recently gone online underneath About, and you'll see a link there that says Accreditation. And underneath that, when you click on it, you'll find all things accreditation. For those of you that have been involved in this process before, it's nothing like it was before, at all. Okay, so don't think you can sleepwalk through it. It's not going to work that way. You need to be informed, pay attention to that information, spend a little time familiarizing yourself with it, etc. They will go around and visit with folks. They'll look at some programmatic kinds of things, but it's not a in-depth review of every program, which is the way they used to do it. Okay, it's more of a holistic view of the campus. Okay, that is coming up. It'll be here before we know it. Be here before we know it. Appreciate everybody's patience here on this campus with our Thursday cross-country meet. That was our first time in several years to encounter Mother Nature and 3,000 guests, and did a pretty good job. It was a little messy in some hallways and things of that nature, but we made it through that. I will tell you, based upon initial numbers, and Vicki may know this better than I do, on that day they had over 1,500 runners, plus guests. So that gives you an idea of how many people. Didn't work out maybe quite as well as we'd hoped. We scheduled professional day that day to try to soften things a little bit. It worked out pretty good, I think, and appreciate everybody on that. That is the final. We only do one of those a year where it disrupts everything on a weekday. The rest of them are on a weekend. So we'll have that. Color Run is coming up next.
On the 26th.
On the 26th of October. That is a Tuesday?
That is a Thursday.
Thursday, okay? If you haven't already signed up, please do that. You can color walk, all right? If the color run is or skip or whatever you'd like to do. Really, this is all about raising money, okay?
Color donate.
Color donate. We like that.
Okay.
Enviros had more participation than Gordon Cooper, so it would be nice if we had some fellow Gordon Cooper participate.
And that would be because she has shamed her husband probably daily.
That is correct.
Got a big event in December at the event center. We are. Kudos to Missy and Roger and Jamie and a whole host of other folks working hard to have the first Lego League state tournament here in Shawnee. And even though they're doing it at Fire Lake, most of the heavy lifting is going to be Gordon Cooper's because we've been doing a lot of that stuff for quite a while.
You want to volunteer? See Miss?
Yeah.
It's a Saturday, December 9th.
Yeah. Anything we can do to help with that would be great. All right. That's it. Thank you all very much. Have a great weekend.